Here we are.
Welcome, everybody, to In the Buff.
We got...
John.
Cody.
It's
Scott and Chris.
That's all four of us.
Indeed.
Yep.
We don't have Andy. We don't have Kyle.
Who needs them?
Not this
I just
podcast.
want it to be said, in the last podcast, I stated I would have the bracket ready by 8 p.m. Monday night.
You did not.
And I would have it set, and I would send it to Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I failed on that behalf. I sent it to him at 8:35 p.m. Don't look, Kyle. Don't quote me on that. 8:35 p.m. Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
But now I would like to continue on with his side of this. He said it would take him
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Should have had that back by 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to know what goddamn time... Cut that out. We're not allowed to cuss for the first 3 minutes. You want to know...
Fuck!
Shit! You want to know what time I got it?
Hold on, is this like a guessing game?
Yeah.
I don't know what time.
Me neither!
Oh, because we didn't get it? He didn't give it. It's just four of us. If we have a tie, we're spinning in the fucking wind. We're just spinning in the wind. Did you just do it again?
What?
When I looked you in the eye.
No.
You guys made a connection.
How about this? If we have a tie, we just think about what Kyle would have said.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I can
okay,
channel him,
alright.
even though you're his brother. I can channel him better than anyone here, I believe.
Yeah.
So I will.
You
channel
probably spent
Kyle.
the most time with him.
It's weird that it's weird that he agrees with me a lot, but I can channel him.
Always be wary.
I
Yeah.
will say that I probably have a pretty special connection with Kyle, too. Not that it's a competition, but I'm pretty sure I'm one of the first people that I got him to flip off.
Oh,
It was me.
oh,
Nice.
So,
I don't have a
I
special
think
connection with Kyle.
you weren't born yet. Man, you remember those jokes?
I do.
I made that joke one time, and you guys are the ones that keep making it.
Have you met me and Chris?
It's all we can do.
We've plagiarized the fuck out of Scott.
You have.
John, I think you also might be one of the first person he's donkey kicked in the nards.
And he also hit me in the face with wrapping tubing.
Good form on that donkey kick.
Very much.
Mm-hmm.
Comments, huh?
Yeah, let's look at some comments. Only got a couple.
We have
Yep.
comments?
Apparently.
With Cody.
On Final Fantasy X Albed Primer's Guide video from Eat a Dick.
Ooh, good name.
I missed 2 at home, only 2 I'm missing now. I gotta start a new game and not miss them. Ha ha ha. Ha.
Didn't you explain that, like, any of them...
Yeah, I explained it. They're missable.
Wait, two at home. What does that mean?
There's
Is that a place called
Yeah.
home?
There's a place called Home, and after a certain
It's
point,
inside all of us.
isn't it?
Does he only, like, immediately just say he doesn't fucking care and move on to the next subject with me?
No, that's everybody.
Oh, he does that with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
I just only feel it when it's with me?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't care about
In the
you
Buff
guys.
episode 28, stories about tall burly men, Monsi commenting, "This topic made my ears go deaf."
Oh my god, what have you done to her?
That's crazy.
That's a new low.
Jesus. Can you imagine going deaf from boredom?
No.
Well, it's because you don't
You get
think
ready
about
for
the
it because
people
it's about to happen
less
today.
Wait. Was that a shot at me?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
We should start your corner though because I feel like it's a chunky boy.
It is pretty big. It's a fat corner.
Are you just vamping until I bring up the,
I
the bracket?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. So I poured some blood, sweat, and tears into this, alright? I
You
looked
bled
up
all over this?
numerous reports. Okay, from the Rolling Stones to
the band?
Riddle. Yeah, I know, right? They did their top 50 superheroes.
Incredible.
Why?
I don't fucking know. I didn't ask them. I just read the report.
I didn't think Mick Jagger
I'll take your
could
word
read.
for it, Mick.
So, we have 8 people from 4 different brackets.
Okay.
Okay. Alright.
And we're going to decide who we think is the best character based on their motivation, their character development, and then their relatability to us. how much we related to what they did.
And I assume in the
Thanos
finals,
did nothing wrong, kind of shit.
And I assume in the
Thanos
finals,
did nothing wrong, kind of shit.
In the finals, it's like just who
And then in the semifinals,
character
in the
against
finals, it's just overall characters using these 3 topics. It's not any specific one.
Right.
The only thing that I want us to avoid is why Superman would win because he wins a fight.
Right.
Okay.
So I don't
To
really
be
care
fair-
about their powers unless they use it in very unique ways.
To be fair, I'm getting a sneak peek here. It's Christopher Reeve Superman, who isn't particularly powerful.
But
Okay.
Of all the on-screen Supermans, he's definitely one of the lamest.
Yeah.
well, he's the only one that can go back in time and change he lost.
That's true.
I guess.
I guess we're not really basing our choices off that. If you would have listened to John.
Yeah.
No, but
We're already talking about the superpowers.
Yeah.
But I did say if they use it in creative ways. If that was like, I think that would be, that one I don't even really think I'd give an exception to because that's just corny.
And I assume you mean creative depictions of their, not like me coming up with a cool way for him to use his cold
Yes.
breath.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So, does anyone know how brackets work and seating?
Yes.
I guess.
No.
Not really, but yeah. I know just top seed goes against bottom seed.
So, I took 6 reports saying the top 16 superheroes and TV
Consolidated
stars,
them.
all that stuff, consolidated the best out of all of them. And I based it on a point system and then created the seeds. So, Chris, there's 8 people, so there's 8 seeds. In the first round, number 1 seed faces the number 8 seed. 2 and 7, 3 and 6, 4 and 5. So, go ahead.
Do you want to randomize this and roll to see which bracket we start with?
I would love that.
Sure. Oh, wow,
One.
you're right.
One.
All right.
Great.
And, the 4 categories are... I just spit all over your laptop. I'm so sorry.
All right.
The 4 categories are superheroes, video game protagonists, TV and movie characters, not specifically protagonists, and then the final category is villains.
Villain.
All right.
Villain.
Well,
They got
So-
you pushing pictures to get villain.
Are you guys ready for the first round of superheroes? Seed number 1 versus seed number 8.
I guess.
Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was number 1 seed by a well, it was him and Christopher Reeves. And then the number 8 seed, the wild card, David Gunn, Bruce Willis from Unbreakable.
Okay.
I thought his name was Unbreakable.
Yeah, I think it is Unbreakable, starring Bruce Willis.
As
featuring
Unbreakable.
As Unbreakable. Um,
Okay, this is interesting
yeah.
because I haven't seen Unbreakable.
Oh, and
Haven't
I
you?
should tell you guys, round 1 is their motivation. So, what do you've seen Unbreakable?
Yeah. I've
Chris,
also
have you
seen
seen
Glass and the
I
last
have
3
not.
minutes
You have
of
not seen
Split.
Unbreakable?
no.
Okay.
I know about it.
So,
His motivation, I believe, is he just finds out one day that he's strong and he wants to be a good boy.
Okay.
well, if my memory serves me correctly, Bruce Willis was in a car accident.
Right.
And he was miraculously he was okay, but he didn't think
Right.
anything of it. But he used that as an excuse to stop playing football or something, stop playing sports.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, he's involved in a train accident, or was it a plane accident?
I don't remember.
Okay, one
Honestly,
of them.
all I remember
But he was the
from that
only
movie-
survivor.
And I
Okay.
will say, I think this is a really good scene. When I was a kid, I used to think it was so cool compared to the sparse superhero media we had at the time that movie came out. When I was a kid, I saw this and I thought, man, that's so cool. When he's with his son in his basement training,
Mhm.
and he's like, man, I'm strong. Put some more weight on there. And
Yep.
he's like, put some more weight on there. And he's lifting so much weight. I'm like, that's so cool. That's such a
Mhm.
cool way to.
Just find out that you're super
Yeah.
strong. Eventually, not Morgan Freeman.
Samuel
Samuel
L.
Jackson.
Glass.
Yeah, he shows up and he's feeble. His bones break easily.
Yeah.
And his mindset was, if I'm really weak and brittle, there's somebody that's the exact opposite of me,
Mm-hmm.
which was Bruce Willis's character.
It's an odd.
Well, the
I
guy,
know, right?
his whole motivation is actually a little bit interesting. Is that he wants superheroes to be real. So
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
in order for that to happen, he has to be a supervillain.
Glass does?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So he's like, I'm gonna be a supervillain so that someone will rise to stop me.
Yep.
So did he do this to himself?
I don't even know if he has superpowers. I think he's just kind of smart.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think I can make a decision based off this.
Yep.
Obviously,
Also Wolverine. He's got metal claws.
It's Hugh Jackman. He's been in every X-Men movie.
This is probably going to shock you then, but I'm playing the rules of the game.
Character motivation.
It sounds like David Gunn as Unbreakable, played by Bruce Willis in Unbreakable by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
It seems like he has any amount of motivation to his character, which I don't know if I could say about Wolverine.
I'm not sure what it is. He wants to bang Jean Grey.
That's actually a pretty good motivation.
Yeah. I mean, especially the one from like the first 3 movies.
Which movie? Because like in Logan,
it's his character iteration. So every movie that he's played in as Wolverine, we're looking at this stuff.
Okay.
So now we can also say like, oh, there's been X-Men 1, 2, 3, Days of Futures Past. I think he made a cameo in there. I forget. There was like a couple more, and then Logan
he was the main character.
Oh,
he made a cameo
character?
in
What was the one that he said?
Class.
Fuck
First
off.
Class.
First Class. Was
Yeah.
that one.
But like he had all these movies
Go fuck
where they
yourselves.
could have gave him a crazy amount of character development, but they just kept reusing what they already knew about him from the
Copy-paste.
comics. Except in Logan.
Yep.
I mean, the thing is, and it gets kind of reiterated in a lot of different movies, is that he's just kind of a drifter who's just kind of sailing through life.
They do that a lot in the comics, even where like, oh, where's Wolverine? Oh, he's up in Canada somewhere.
And he's a very reactive character. He's not very proactive. He's not usually the one trying to get things done.
Stuff happens to him, and he, as you said, reacts.
I mean, it's also like, to bring up, X-Men Origins Wolverine, but like the entire opening montage is just him
Going through wars.
just going through wars, and it never really feels like he's like particularly patriotic or fighting for a good cause or anything like that. He's just something to do.
See, when I first watched that movie and I didn't know it was total shit, I thought that was the angle they were going with, is that he's like, oh, I'm fighting the good fight because I'm the one who can. But then he's just like Wolverine as soon as the prologue stops. He's just Wolverine in Vietnam or wherever the hell they were. And he gets betrayed, and then he gets metal claws.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Logan gives me a little bit of justice to that because he's very clearly just like reached his breaking point.
Right.
But at that point, he just wants to find a way to die.
Which is pretty sad.
It's extremely sad.
That is kind of a motivation, though.
Yeah.
And once he finds Sarah Lucy,
The little
X-23?
little baby Wolverine.
what's her name?
Laura.
He does develop some motivation there to
Yeah.
try and protect her. I mean, that's just kind of classic dad script.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's Last of Us.
The Road.
It's The Road.
I am a sucker for a good dad script.
But
So
I'd say, in my opinion, taken as a whole, David
No,
Gunn...
we're not talking about Taken. We're talking about Unbreakable.
yeah.
Different dad.
Liam Neeson didn't even. Well, not Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson didn't even make this list.
Taken as a whole, David Gunn is a better motivated character
I think
because
I agree.
it's tighter.
Toiter like a toiger.
I can get behind that.
I think I agree with you. And as much, I'm sorry, Wolverine.
You always played Wolverine whenever we played.
Huge jacked man is an excellent. He is the pinnacle. Well, I'm not gonna say that. He's one of those that he became a superhero, not the superhero became him.
Yep.
It's why he's ranked
Yeah.
number one.
I'm gonna give it to David Gunn, whose name I didn't know before this.
Exactly.
Oh, dude, when I first hit this, I'm like, who the fuck is David? The only superhero I know that Bruce Willis played was Unbreakable.
Oh wait, is that James Gunn's
and
brother?
then I started looking closer. I'm like, oh, this is actually Unbreakable. Oh, that's crazy. His name's David Gunn.
What's
Chris?
your votes?
I don't know. I enjoyed Logan too much to not give it to Wolverine.
I can totally understand that.
100% can understand that.
I'm not even trying to be a spoiler over here.
I'm following the rules, just like Cody.
Yeah. Cody? Did
He
you
said-
already
he
say
said
David
David
Gunn?
Gunn.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I think so. When I first created the bracket and I saw this, I'm like, this might be my third favorite outing that's gonna happen in the first round. And this was such a fucking close up for me. I think I'm gonna go with unbreakable as well.
All right. Get fucked, Chris.
And I think it's that tight window that they did a lot more with less time.
Sure.
Than
efficient.
That's another
the writing
really
happened
good
with
point.
Wolverine.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah. So, the first seed has been knocked out.
Wow, what an upset. Round 1.
Incredible.
Now, our next session in the bracket, we have RDJ's Iron Man versus Michael Keaton's Batman.
Okay.
Monty knows a lot about Michael Keaton's Batman.
So we can, as far as Michael Keaton's Batman, surely we got like a scene at the beginning of the movie of his parents dying, right?
Surely.
I believe so, yeah.
Even if it's just implied at this point.
I guess the idea, that means we can just boil in Batman's motivation, which is he doesn't want what happened
And
to
I
him
believe
to happen to anyone else.
He had 2 movies, right?
Yeah.
Michael Keaton had 2,
Yeah.
yeah. He had the Penguin one as well.
Yeah, he
And the
had,
Joker.
yeah.
With that in mind, I guess, like I said, we could just put Batman's motivation in general as Michael Keaton's, because he was just Batman, right? He wasn't, except he could kill people. He killed a lot of people.
He did kill people.
He even killed the Joker.
The one thing I'll say is maybe it's just my own bias and my own fatigue with superhero stuff.
Good thing we started with this one.
I know, right?
Right.
It's the roll of the dice.
But Batman's motivation just feels so
Boilerplate.
simple. Boilerplate's another good. It's just kind of boring.
Mhm.
It kind of just boils down to criminals killed my parents, so I want to stop criminals.
Right.
It's like what it like
Yeah.
at its simplest is what it is to me.
You could boil it even simpler down to just crime bad, I fight crime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm notably a Marvel shill.
I think this was extremely. I went immediately with my choice, but I think we're about to say your reason is my reason.
Well, honestly, I do find it extremely interesting that it's like the reverse of the Hegelian dialectic with Iron Man. He
Okay.
created the bullet, now wants to be the bandage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I love
Okay.
that. I like that idea that he had that whole traumatic thing with the 9 rings or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh shit, they are using my weapons and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
How much more harm have I wrought the world that I didn't even realize was happening?
It kind of goes back to what I was saying with the first matchup, in that Batman's motivation comes from a place of reactivity.
Yeah.
He wasn't to blame for his parents' death. He kind of was, but not really.
Yeah, you didn't want to watch the bats, they were scary.
They were scary, but that motivation was like thrust upon him. All of the things that contribute to his motivation happen passively to him,
Mhm.
whereas Tony Stark was hoisted by his own petard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his company that he was the CEO of made the weapons that almost killed him.
For me, it's like he was apart from it. He's like, oh, I can put stuff together and it'll blow up when it hits something.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I mean, you see all this happen in the first half an hour of his movie, maybe hour at most.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he gets back from the caves, he's like, yeah, hey, no, we're doing a press conference. They're like, no, you need to go to the hospital. He's like, fuck you guys, I want a cheeseburger and a press conference.
Yeah.
Mhm. And he's like an actual active, motivated character where he's like,
Yep.
I don't want what happened to me to happen to anybody else. Because before, I was just a pompous billionaire who didn't understand the consequences of my actions. But now I do, and I have empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think,
And
Chris?
this is only just talking about the first fucking movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, especially in the Keaton verse of Batman, his villains are the ones with motivation.
I feel like that's a
And-
lot of the time the case with Batman.
Yeah. And so Batman gets to be the
Reactive one.
yeah. And Iron Man is just so like, even if we move past the first movie, right? He is always in his own way.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is the quintessential man versus self, and he gets to still be the pompous millionaire, only now he's like, I have to do the right thing or the sacrifice play eventually.
Or like he said in God knows, one of them, Infinity War or Endgame, where he's like getting mad and he's like, the point is to fight to end the fight, right?
Oh, that was
Yeah.
No, that was in hold on, let me go back to my data banks. Age of Ultron.
Oh, that was Age of Ultron, whatever it is. I like that sentiment as well.
I think they brought that back in Endgame, or the final one.
Endgame.
Either
Yes.
Yeah.
My vote goes to Iron Man.
Yes.
I'm right there with you. I don't think this is even a challenge.
We love Iron Man 3000.
Can you do me a huge favor?
What?
Can you copy them over? Unless we're all gonna
No,
have
no,
really
I
good
like
memories.
Power Man 5000.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Oh,
They're in that first though.
over. I
Jackman.
I never
didn't-
understood
he
his
didn't
name.
win.
That's definitely
He
like a
didn't.
steel alloy that he's covered in.
What?
David
It's called
Gone.
Iron Man, but that's definitely like a steel alloy.
No, they say it in the movie. It's like a gold something,
Gold
right?
titanium
Gold
alloy, something
Oh.
like that.
So where's the iron?
He
says
literally
it's a
says that in the
misnomer.
movie. He's like,
Oh.
I'm not. I don't know what we're
It's
calling him Iron
because
Man.
it's an exonym.
You know,
It's a name
also-
that's placed upon him by others.
His name
Ah.
should be Fee-Man.
Like
No.
She-Hulk.
Now that I think about it, also
Shulk.
he also like in his motivation, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fix this," and he overcorrected because like I remember, like he yells at like Pepper just saying like, "It doesn't matter. It's only the next mission."
Yeah.
Like I find the next place that has my weapons, I blow it up,
Yeah.
and and that was like the start. I'm like, and then you see at the end of the movie, he's not really fully where he's supposed to be. He hasn't fully grown out of it. He's like, I'm a fucking superhero.
Isn't it weird to say this, but this is how I feel. How refreshing a 20-year-old movie feels compared to a Marvel movie now.
I will go back and watch the first Iron Man probably a few times a year.
Wow. My vote is also for Iron Man.
Not Batman. You could just say Batman. Give him a leg up there.
All right.
He loses
So
anyway.
I think that's unanimous, guys.
Now,
Yep.
the way the brackets work, that was the 4th and 5th seed, Chris.
Yes,
So
I
that-
get it now.
Yeah.
Who's up next?
Next up, Chris Evans's Captain America, Ryan Reynolds's Deadpool. This
This
is
is a tough one.
This is a real tough one.
I gotta share with you, just real fast, between me and Scott, we've always been this distance of Team Iron Man, Team Cap.
Yeah.
Captain America got the 3rd seed. Iron Man got the 4th seed.
Well, I will say this, okay? Okay. Captain America, nobody knew who fucking Iron Man was before the movies came out.
Oh, RDJ blew that shit away.
And
Absolutely amazing.
I've been on Team Iron Man since
Since
I
day
didn't
one,
have
man.
pubes. You know?
Still
I've been on-
don't. But
I've been on Team Cap since I knew you were on Team Iron Man.
Great.
now this is an interesting matchup because Captain America is very much your squeaky
He
clean
hates
Boy
bullies.
Scout. He can do this all day.
What is Deadpool's motivation even?
This is what I wanted to bring up. Deadpool's a real wild card here because he's so meta. You can really say his motivation is just to be
To be in the movie.
or just to be a funny comic book character,
Right.
and
Honestly,
he's very motivated to be that.
And like you can almost like look at him and like he falls in the superhero genre, but like he's not like the quintessential good guy.
Anti-hero.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. He's the anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
And so like throughout the first movie, I remember him being there was like no real motivation for him, and then what was his motivation? What made him start doing things? Like kidnap his girlfriend? I forget.
So he got cancer. And
Right.
So his first motivation was to try to do something about that, which is where he gets his powers.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was to save his girl. I forget her name. She was hot,
no idea.
but I forget her name. And then Captain America just wins this one because
Oh wow! Chris
Deadpool-
just came out with it.
Deadpool has like the most basic motivation of saving his
I don't
girl.
know. I-
And-
Captain America's motivation is literally just punch Nazi.
Like he
In the first movie.
if you want to
Yeah,
give it,
fair.
but
That's
it
fair.
if you
goes
want to give it more
so far than
credence, even in the first movie, I think this goes by to the whole thing. He says in the first movie before he gets superpowers, he's like, "I hate bullies."
Yep.
I think that's his whole motivation right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He doesn't like people who.
But then you see later on, like, going back to like what we talked about a little bit in the last podcast, you know, your headcanon was like, oh, what if like he's afraid that the fight's going to end and he has no purpose anymore?
Exactly.
And like that became a legitimate canon.
Like it kind of got boiled into my head that he had convinced himself that he was a weapon, that if there were no war to fight anymore, nobody would need to use a weapon
Exactly.
anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that idea. And they didn't really do anything with it until I got that. I think it was in Age of Ultron. Like his greatest
Yep.
fear when what's her name showed him like a hallucination or whatever
Was the war being over?
was him being back in his old time, war over. He's with the love of his life, and so I like the idea. They didn't pull. I think you said the canon is that he's always been able to hold the fucking
I
hammer.
hate that. I don't believe that at
I
all.
like the
That's not my
idea
canon.
that the reason he's suddenly able to hold the hammer in Endgame is he's finally deciding that I am fighting this fight so that I don't have to fight anymore.
Yeah, he's fighting for the right reasons.
And I love that. In fact, just saying that, it gave me tingles.
It does. It does. Not just because it's so cold in here.
I
Yeah.
have very few times in my life have I audibly cheered in a movie theater. And it was because when Cap picked up the hammer, I also was so fucking hyped because on the way there we were like, oh, what do you guys think is gonna happen? I'm like, something's gotta happen. Cap's gotta pick up the hammer. It can't fucking have this. It's gotta have this payoff from Ultron.
And I didn't even think about that like being paid off at the time.
But I think the reason why I remember the scene with RDJ where he's like, isn't that why we fight so we can end the fight? Like when he says that line in Ultron, like Cap just gets really mad and you see him just fucking rip a fucking log in half.
Yeah.
And like I just remember like that scene stuck in my head for a long time, mostly because I was like, God damn, that hot man. Oh, fuck me, please.
For me, on this one, I think I'm actually going to vote for Deadpool. Just because I think you've convinced me.
Well, that's interesting because you convinced me to go with Captain America.
The idea, as simple as it might seem, the idea of his motivation being, because I want more comics to be written about me. I want to have another movie because if there isn't, then I'm dead.
Pool.
So I have to be entertaining. I think that's kind of fun.
But is that a good motivation?
I think so.
It's certainly an interesting motivation.
It's definitely a hot take.
God knows if that's the case. That's what I'm picking up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as much as actually, you know what?
Oh no.
I'm reverting back because, and I only say this because what originally swayed me is what you said about how Captain America's motivation changes.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I'm changing back to Deadpool is because round 2 is about character development.
Oh.
And if we were doing development this round, I'd absolutely say Captain America's development is better because Deadpool has very little development as a character. He's a very static character because he's very unique. And if you have a unique character, you don't have to go through that big of an arc or an arc necessarily in order to be interesting.
Right.
All right.
Their hero's journey doesn't have to change
So,
them. Because if it
we
did,
have
you
a
would lose the uniqueness.
Exactly.
Huge danger of a tie right here.
See, I went into this trying so hard not to pick anything, and I actually wanted to hear your guys' points because if I just went off of what I wanted, Captain America wins all day.
Mm-hmm.
I have such a fucking soft spot for Captain America.
You really do.
I
I can see it.
And hearing everybody's points, I think I'd still go with Captain America because I feel like he has a more complete motivation.
Uh-oh.
It's a tie.
So what do you guys think Kyle would say?
I think I would say Deadpool.
You think you would say Deadpool?
I know
so.
I'm the best, so
Why do you think you would say Deadpool?
because I know I'm the best.
Why do you think? What do you think would be his reason?
Because we line up a lot. I think he'd agree with what I just said.
All right, what do you think Kyle would say?
What do I think Kyle would say?
Gut feeling right now. Pick one.
Chris, what are you doing? You're an idiot.
All right.
That seems to be some sort of thing.
I think he would also go with Deadpool.
I think he would too.
Yeah. Great, Deadpool wins. Sorry, Cap.
Well, see you guys.
Number 14.
That's
It was an upset.
that's a real shame because Captain America I think would definitely have won on the later rounds.
Character
but
development for sure.
Absolutely.
because even as cool of as development of his character is, his motivation really
I feel like that was his weakest part.
his motivation is still simple. It's be good guy, get girl.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
We got 2 and 6 coming up, or 2 and 7.
2 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the way, we're at half an hour already, so we
Hell
gotta
yeah.
kick this into
Yeah,
high
we
gear.
gotta kick it into high.
Hell yeah!
Or we do
you want to do
a
a two-parter? Our first is this our first two-parter?
Could we just,
Yes.
if we do a 2-parter, can we just record all of it tonight?
We'll just
Okay. Are you okay with that? You got work early in the morning.
I just need to pee between.
Okay.
I don't even
Alright.
think we do a break. I think we just do the whole
So,
thing, and if it ends up being 2.5 hours, then that's
I will
just the way it
say,
is.
let's do one side of the bracket and then the other side of the bracket.
Yep.
And that'll be our two-parter.
Sure.
All right.
And obviously the championship.
So, Christopher Reeves's Superman versus Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mm.
a lady, finally.
Yep.
It only took Seed 7.
So,
Yep.
what in God's name is Superman's motivation?
Truth, justice, and the American way,
I think they
baby.
changed it. They changed it.
Oh,
What is
yeah.
it now?
And
I don't
goodwill
fucking
towards men, I
don't
think.
know.
Krypton,
I feel like-
Krypton's
And
way.
Krypton-
Krypton's way. Kryptonian's way. So I guess
What does the S on your chest stand for?
hope.
It's not an S.
So he just wants.
It's even less compelling than Captain America's motivation.
I will say
Yeah.
it is just a watered down version, and that's saying something, of Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to show my complete and utter ignorance to everything DC. What in the fucking shit does Wonder Woman do?
I am going to tell you
Her
this as well.
motivation is also truth, justice, and the American
Uh-oh.
way.
I think it's just a watered down version of Captain
Yeah,
America's
it's-
motivation.
Uh-oh.
All right. Am I gonna?
Win fight, get girl.
Okay.
Oh, no. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman's
She
motivation.
wants to end war and
No,
kill Ares.
she really wants to bang Chris Pine.
Oh,
She
right.
does want to.
I think that's her primary
I mean-
motivation because we had an entire movie.
Ares, what I breathe.
Nice.
Thanks.
I mean, frankly, after the D&D movie, I want to bang Chris Pine.
Great.
Yeah.
No, not my
This
type.
isn't about Chris Pine. This is about Gal Gadot.
No, I will. I'm saying
It's
I
Pine,
understand
actually,
the
Chris
motivation.
Pine.
Let's see. She just wants to stop Ares and help humans not fight.
Her motivation in her first movie was to get that picture, remember? Of her friends. Back in World War One.
Ah,
Well, my tummy
That's a good
trembled.
point.
And
yeah.
then she randomly showed up with a lasso and shield to fight and a sword.
Oh yeah,
To
and
fight-
sword.
Doom Fist?
Doomsday.
Doomsday. Doom
Where did
Fist
that
is
sword
Overwatch.
come from?
It's,
No idea.
That wasn't the sword from her movie because that sword got broke-to-did.
maybe it's like
Yeah, she thought it was the God Killer.
a Hercules' sword.
It literally could have been.
And from the Moon Men,
He didn't have a sword in that movie.
Yeah, he's just bare fist.
he had
Yeah.
a
And
dick.
he should have. What he should have done
A
is
club.
picked up the Brock Man and threw him at.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Or he should have.
We're not talking about his motivation.
So my real hang-up here is the second Wonder Woman movie.
1984. Four.
One of them. 1984. It's just so slapped together and haphazard. Like, it really just destroys that character.
I guess her motivation in that was that she wanted Chris Pine back, but then that's the development part. She learns that you shouldn't always wish for what you want because you might just get it
No,
or something.
no. The more I'm thinking about this, the more obvious that Superman's gonna win. It's hard to lose against a score of 0.
Right.
But now that I'm thinking about this, Wonder Woman is definitely a negative value
Right.
because her entire motivation is to just bang Chris Pine to the point
Yeah.
where she goes 70 years just wanting to bang Chris Pine.
Yeah. And
So,
to be fair,
we have one more movie that we haven't brought her up in though, and that was in
Justice
Justice
League.
League.
Yeah.
In Justice League, what the fuck was her motivation there? Bring back Superman?
Okay, she's Wonder Woman. No, she was against the idea of bringing back Superman.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
And somebody should bring that up to Superman.
man.
I guess save Earth.
Yeah, because she didn't start acting until she saw. That's what it is. She saw that. God, fucking the bad guy's name. No idea.
The
Doom
metal band.
Fist.
Steppenwolf.
Darkseid?
Yes,
okay.
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf had taken their box. Oh, I'm gonna get your box, girl.
Mother box.
And she, not
Amazonians?
Amazonians had fired a signal arrow, and she's like, "Oh, I need to act. That's my Wonder Woman voice." And
Some great motivation there.
and I guess oh, something bad is happening. I better get Batman.
Dude. Can we just put Captain America here?
Unfortunately, no. That's not the way.
He's already out.
Fuck.
Having seen almost no Christopher Reeve Superman,
I've weirdly seen all of them.
I think I've seen
I
them all
think
too.
4.
I've
There's 4, right?
not seen the last one.
The Quest for Peace or whatever. Quest for
That's-
Hope.
yeah. Quest for
where
Peace.
they made like a
Nuclear
Superman.
Man.
Yeah, Nuclear Man.
at least I feel like Christopher Reeves' Superman is... It's something,
Yeah.
and it's consistent.
And also,
I-
just to put a little bit of a on the, this has nothing to do with his motivation. Those movies are just kind of fun and charming.
I was gonna say.
Sure.
I think I'm gonna go with Christopher Reeves here, and I don't think I'm doing it because of Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman specifically, like her acting. I feel like it was more so to do with just how the movies played out.
Oh, I'll push back. She's a fucking trash actor.
I didn't think she was that bad.
She's horrible in everything she's in.
Okay.
Great. So, well, Superman, I can't
Superman.
believe it, but Superman.
Is going on in the
Superman-
next round. Man. Chris,
Nah,
what was your choice?
I have to give it to Christopher.
Because his name's
Because
Chris?
his name's Chris, yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
he the one
that's
that,
motivation right there.
Is he the one that hurt his back when he...
Yeah,
he's the one.
that's
yeah.
the
Sad
horse
story.
accident.
Sad story.
Gal Gadot didn't fucking become a paralyzed person.
All right. For character motivation, we have first seed Kratos from God of War against Lee from Telltale's The Walking Dead.
Very similar motivations, weirdly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the first 3 games of God of War, he's just a fucking god killer.
Well, his
I mean,
motivation, I
go
guess,
ahead, you're actually the pro here.
as simple as it is simple, but it's brutal in its simplicity, is his motivation is, you fucking got me, I'm gonna fucking get you.
Yeah. So
It's a revenge plot.
Ares,
Yeah.
it was Ares, right?
Aries what I breathe.
Wow.
Yeah.
2 in a row.
God
Fucking, but I think the motivation with Kratos in the first 3 games gets lost
Mm-hmm.
so as you're just continuing to play them, because it just turns into fucking Kratos the God Butcher.
And then at the end of 3, when he's finally attained the thing that was motivating him, he's just like, well, shit, I guess I'll kill myself. But then he doesn't even get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, with Kratos, I feel like, especially by the 3rd game, he becomes a very unlikable character
Mhm.
because he's just so caught up in his revenge against Zeus that he's just actively hurting the people who are trying to help him.
Yep.
What's really interesting about those games, too, I feel, is, we keep bringing it up, the reactions that the other characters have to him. I really like to think about what Zeus was doing. And like, oh, his like, Kratos' whole thing was like, oh, there's still hope, Kratos. When you opened up the Pandora's box, it wasn't just fear, there was hope in there too, Kratos. And Zeus is just like, shit, I want to be God forever, though. Like, dude.
I think it goes back to, and we haven't even talked about the new games,
Yeah.
which if we did and Kratos gets further along, I feel like he's got a very strong character development.
Well, I will say that
by God
those
of War 4.
are like the soft reboots. I don't know what they even call them, continuations, I guess,
I guess. I don't know.
because it's canonically the same thing.
Yeah.
But those are included in this.
I do feel like Lee's story in season 1 of Walking Dead is a tighter character progression, even though there's probably not a whole lot of character motivation other than
Save the girl.
save the girl.
Mhm.
I think that's a very compelling motivation. It's another dad script.
I mean, it's what made Wolverine almost win in our first round.
Right.
This goes into the development part of it, but I do like, this is just me talking about how I like Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I do like how it starts as, I need to survive, because I need to survive, and it turns into, I need to make sure she survives,
Mm-hmm.
because I want to make sure she survives.
Because like the first 2 chapters, like he's taking care of her and he's treating her like his daughter, quote unquote. But like it's not until like you get on the train and he's teaching her how to shoot, he's cutting her hair, he's trying to help her have better survivability.
Mhm.
Kind of like the Last of Us turn where eventually it becomes, oh, I'm not taking this person.
It's funny you mentioned
where
that.
the
We're going to talk about the
destination-
same exact thing
It
here in a
is.
little bit.
We shouldn't even bring up The Last of Us because it's going to come around.
Well,
Yep.
I don't know anything about this game. I don't want, like The Walking Dead.
I will tell you right now, Chris, if you have not seen somebody play it, I recommend watching somebody play it or play it yourself.
Yeah, you could.
Because
you should
it's
play
one of the
yourself.
first games that made me cry at the end.
But I will say that I love it when a character becomes so motivated that everything else is meaningless and they just pursue that. I love the
Excuse me.
Moby Dick story. Captain Ahab
Sure.
is just blinded by his fury and hatred for Moby Dick. And that is literally...
Lee to a T from Telltale's.
Yeah,
Walking
sure.
And,
Dead.
His white whale
Kratos.
was Clementine living.
Well,
Were you going to say Kratos?
yeah.
So
okay.
Kratos' white
I-
whale was Zeus, and then when he got the white whale, it was like,
Then what?
Now I have nothing.
yeah.
Um,
And his motivation, I guess, his motivation in the first game was quite simple. At the beginning, it was, I haven't played the second game, so no spoilers.
Oh, so we're moving on to the 2018 God of War.
Sure. In the first game, his motivation at the very beginning is take my wife's ashes to the highest peak.
Yeah. Well, you could also, like, that's the surface level motivation.
Right.
I think the underlying motivation is I want to be a parent for my son.
Or even better yet, maybe even a question of how can I continue being a parent to my son
Mm.
without my wife there?
And,
Sure.
And that, like, that was, you can say that was the motivation, but I felt like there was a mix, like, I felt like he had two motivations, but they kind of coalesced pretty well, was how can I raise my son to be the right kind of god?
Yeah, I want him to
And how
be-
can I help this realm's gods not fall to war like mine did, even though he was majority of that problem?
I mean, if that was his motivation, I mean, the obvious answer is to move.
Yeah. You're the problem, Kratos.
He's the constant.
I
here.
know
like
what?
saying Kratos like I like saying Thanos.
Yeah.
There's probably even a deeper motivation beyond just how can I be a good parent to my son. I think even that is surface level to an underlying motivation of can I redeem myself
Right.
yes.
for the
You've
failures
swayed
and
me
errors of
completely.
my past. Be-
Kratos wins.
And by trying to fulfill that motivation, he can fulfill the motivation of being a better father.
Right.
Because that is a goal that will redeem him in some way.
And those are my favorite parts throughout the game too, in the first one, where he like the son's having a hard time and Kratos would be like,
Yep.
and he can't quite
Well,
be a man.
Mhm.
He can be a god though.
before I say my decision, because I'm kind of on the fence for both of them. This was honestly the one on this bracket that I was most excited to talk about. And again, it was a first and eighth seed.
Mhm.
First and eighth seed for the villain bracket. Don't look yet. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait for it. Looking at their character motivations, this is where I want to kind of turn and look at their drive
Mm-hmm.
for those motivations.
Okay.
And we look at the very end of the game for Lee.
Yeah.
And Chris, sorry to spoil this for you. He's not in the second game for a reason.
Yeah.
Clementine gets kidnapped, and his whole reason for being here, his whole journey through the whole game, lost.
Yep.
And he's getting desperate. He's trying to find her. He gets bit by a zombie. Doesn't know what to do. He covers it up. He knows, I now have a limited amount of time. I have to set things as right as I can. And you get like this, like, he doesn't turn into like a heartless killing machine, but it's like, you have this awesome moment where you just see like this wave of zombies, and it's like, I'm not gonna let anything stop me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is my motivations to make sure she's good.
Mhm.
And to see him up until potentially like his final breaths, depending on your choice, like he's giving her those like last like fatherly bits of advice. And like, even though like for Kratos that might be like surface level, but the amount of effort that was poured into that particular motivation for him,
I remember feeling
unbelievable.
I remember feeling a very distinct visceral reaction to the last Clementine will remember that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, this is different
Yeah.
than every other moment in the game up to this point.
Like, that was not a message to the player.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like the character is gonna remember that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of you're gonna carry that weight at the end of Cowboy Bebop. But you just something I hadn't considered before. My vote is Kratos. Something I hadn't considered before.
Did I almost reset?
How motivating is the motivation for the character? What were they willing to do for that motivation?
Mm-hmm.
And Kratos destroyed a pantheon.
Very, very proactive character.
Yeah.
Oh, I accidentally helped you sell more towards Kratos?
Yes.
So, what is your choice, Cody?
It's gonna be Kratos.
It's gonna be Kratos?
Yeah.
Alright, Chris?
As much as I like to see Telltale's Walking Dead get some exposure, not that it needs any. It's a hugely successful and popular game.
It's just a great retelling of like the Hercules myth, only bigger stakes.
Walking Dead.
Damn it, you beat me to it.
So it's Kratos.
Alright.
Lovely.
Mine was gonna be Lee.
Yeah.
But it was so goddamn close. It was so hard for me to choose this.
It wasn't a first seed upset like the previous bracket there.
Is it the same guy that voices him all 5
No.
games?
Christopher Judge is in the new ones.
Okay.
Yeah, he did the.
I don't remember
last
the
two.
name of the.
I know he does a great job.
I was
Boy.
very surprised to see Lee make it in, and if I remember correctly, he barely skated in front of like 3 people.
Wow.
Interesting.
Weirdly, one of the people that he beat out was Jack from Jack and Daxter.
I don't even know. I couldn't tell you dick about him.
I love Jack and Daxter, dude.
I can tell you that the internet definitely has given him a dick.
Great. Next.
All right, this is gonna be a tough one.
Oh, no.
Maybe we can zoom through this. We've got number 5, Nathan Drake versus number 4, Solid Snake.
Scott, I have not played much of either of these.
Well, I guess Nathan Drake's motivation in the first game was that he wanted to find Drake's treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, was his last name actually Drake?
It's not his real last name, I don't think. The idea is he says that he is a long-time descendant of Sir Francis Drake.
Oh.
And I think that's it.
Really?
They want to find the treasure. They steal the information from about the treasure from this person that's making a documentary about him and his buddy Solly.
Okay.
And then he double crosses her, but then she double crosses him or something. I don't know. Who gives a shit? They end up stranded on this island, and he has to like save her and get them off the island, while
And this is
also
part of the
finding
first game?
while also finding El Dorado, which they do.
Okay.
All right.
Who is
Give
the
me
other one?
Solid Snake.
Give me a
Solid
quick
Snake.
rundown of the 8,000 games that were the Solid Snake series.
Well, I only have to do Metal Gear Solid 1, I
Okay.
assume. So,
Well, it's every iteration of the character, so I want him, his dad, his grandpa, the bad guy, the next bad guy, his uncle.
okay. Solid
timeline
Well,
Snake's,
they're all clones of each other, so it's like 20 characters.
Solid Snake's dad is a man named Big Boss,
Hmm.
who was in Vietnam, who was friends with a commander named the Boss.
And that's a big lady with big titties.
Except he wasn't.
Oh.
Yes, she was the boss, but he wasn't Big Boss at the time. He was Naked Snake because he was naked in the jungle, and then he beat the boss and took her name. And then
While he was
went.
naked?
Yes,
He's called Snake because he ate a snake, right? Something like that.
there was a song called Snake Eater,
Hmm.
and also a game named Snake Eater,
Yeah,
which
Metal
is
Gear
Metal Gear
Solid
Solid 3 with Naked Snake in it.
Alright.
Forgot that. Okay, this is getting even 1/10 of it is getting confusing.
What's his motivation?
So yeah, let's talk about his motivation.
So I don't know.
Chris, can you help
I'm
us out
pretty
here?
sure in the first game, Solid Snake's motivation is to save the world.
It's
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty big.
It's an early PlayStation title. He really has no motivation except for destroy the evil people.
Here's the problem. This is getting a bit meta. If he wins, how in the fucking shit could we possibly talk about his character
development?
progression?
Well, that's the thing. He's all the characters. That's a lot of development.
Here's the
I think
thing.
Otacon's also a clone.
Otacon.
Rollout.
I know there are Metal Gear Solid fans out there who are getting mad at this discussion because they're
sure.
like, there is so
They're
much.
all here listening to this podcast.
There's
too.
so much nuance and depth to this character and the meta commentary of the games about the global governments and authoritarianism
Globalists.
and censorship.
We might be able to get Justin to watch this episode. I'm pretty sure he loves Solid Snake.
Could we get a phone a friend? See if he can tell us.
Hey, Justin. Hello? Hold on. John's getting his phone. Is this going to happen?
No.
Oh, no, it's not happening.
He fooled us.
He's just gonna answer.
For the sake of brevity, Drake?
So from the bit that I've heard, which I don't feel like I heard a lot for Snake, but I don't think it's easy to say a lot for Snake because there's so much to talk about with him. I think I'm more so looking at the time that Snake came out versus the time that Nathan Drake came out with Uncharted. And I think writers were a lot more aware of like the stories that needed to be made. I don't think they did a great job from what I was hearing with Nathan, but I feel like they did a better job displaying his motivation than with Snake.
I mean, as far as like motivation, I'm at a real disadvantage because I've never played any of these games.
Same.
But if I had to boil it down to bare bones, it's the motivation of save the world versus get money.
Yeah.
And I guess save the world is a better motivation than get money.
I can relate to.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Then why the fuck did Deadpool win? Fuck! Ow!
In all games except for the fourth one, Drake is just like, hey, I want to find this treasure at the beginning. And that's it. Like, and then like stuff happens because of that. In the fourth one, I think you go on the treasure hunt because he wants to find his brother or some shit.
Oh, I do remember seeing stuff about that.
Like the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, we saw the movie, so we basically played all the games.
Yeah.
There were, yeah, sure.
All right. What's everybody's?
Drake.
Oh, what's yours?
I'm going to say Snake.
All right, that's 3-1 then.
All right.
Drake it is.
Well, I've
I'm
been
sorry,
outvoted
Snack.
for the first time.
Snecko.
Drake. All right.
Last one.
Nope, we
Two
still
more.
got two more. We have number 3, Commander Shepard from Mass Effect,
Okay.
Shepard, Commander.
versus number 6, Joel from The Last of Us.
Now, when we talked about this, Scott said specifically,
It's Ralph Shepard.
it is his version of Shepard.
Yep.
Okay.
I was going to say the canon version of Shepard with the decisions that were made.
Yeah.
From all 3 of the games. Or was he in Andromeda?
No.
Okay. Good, because I never played it.
This is a very tough option. I'm not sure why this got seeded, because Shepard's motivations are whatever the player wants them to be.
Well, yeah.
Here's... Okay. This is past Scott coming at you, future Scott. How in the fucking shit does Joel not win this one?
I'm sitting right there with you.
How do you say anything other than Joel's motivation being the best?
No, I agree. It's like it's not even a competition because I don't feel like Shepard's motivations are clearly defined by the story.
Even if I were to say it's Ralph's motivation is to save the universe by any fucking means necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess galaxy.
Interestingly, Joel's motivation is almost the exact opposite.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
if you look
the
at
consequences of his motivations.
If you play the words correctly, his goal is to save his universe by any means necessary.
If I ever were to lose you, I'd surely lose myself.
Exactly. Bon Jovi.
I want to give it to
It's
Joel.
John Bon Jovi.
I want to give it to Joel just for like the first 15 minutes of the game, where it's just try to get out with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that
And
was
it's just like
one of the coldest opens to a game I've ever experienced.
It's unfortunate because if Ralph and Joel are in the same room, that motherfucker's on the ground. Not Ralph.
No. Yeah, sure. And what I really like about Joel's motivation, and this isn't my take, this is a take I've heard elsewhere in analysis, but Joel's motivations go from...
Do you agree with it before you say it?
Yes, for the most part, I think.
I'd say this is his take.
You see Joel's motivation change from I am willing to sacrifice myself for this girl
Mm-hmm.
to I'm willing to sacrifice my
The
friends
world.
and family for this girl to I'm willing to sacrifice the world for this girl.
And you just saying that, again, I just got chills a little bit.
Mhm.
Even just thinking about it. It's a tiny little bit into character development, but those are his motivations.
Mhm.
Whoa.
And it's also I am willing to become more and more of a monster.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm gonna take a step back first because he wasn't originally willing to do any of that for that girl.
Exactly.
He was doing it because Tess wanted to do it as a job at first, and then she she believed in a different cause after getting bit.
Right.
And then when he agreed
Well-
to take her, it was because she wanted him to take her.
Honestly, my takeaway from that scene was like a vain, not like she wasn't believing in a different cause. Maybe it turned into that right at the end. But when she got bit, it was like, maybe they can fix me. Maybe they can fix me
Yeah.
if we act real quick.
Mm.
That's what I got from it.
But to me, she started to feel hope.
Yeah.
Like there was a chance that she could be saved. And then like when she felt like it was still too late, it was like, hey, there's something real here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
Also, sorry.
no, I'm saying that because of this conversation about his motivations, it's making me think that later on Joel automatically wins for character development as well.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry here. I love Mass Effect.
Hmm.
I really do, but what can we talk about?
Exactly.
With Ralph, even.
There's so
You know
many
what my
options
motivation
that
would
you
have
can go
been if
down.
I had played? I gotta blame this.
Blue Babe.
I gotta bang this blue babe. That's it. That's my whole motivation.
God damn it, we're talking about oxes again?
something something I just thought about, which I've never really considered, was Joel's motivation at the very beginning of the game was also to save this
Yeah.
girl.
Yep.
It's a ring.
And it ruined him
Mm-hmm.
to the point where he lost, like,
His humanity, pretty much.
he lost his humanity and he lost that motivation. In some way, I don't even know if he might have said, like, well, I tried to protect that girl, and by trying to protect her, I lost her.
I never even thought about this. Like, that... how could I not think about this? That's why he was willing to do all the stuff in the 20 years later. That's why he became an actual monster in the 20 years later. Because he had lost his world.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How did I never think of that?
And like,
Oh, and it's also like, I lost my old world because I wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
I wasn't willing to go as far.
well, I mean, like,
And
so,
he's not going to make that same mistake again.
so we could sit here and talk about The Last of Us
We
for
just,
so
just
long.
talking about The Last of Us.
Oh.
Joel,
But like, somebody, it's Joel for me too.
Joel.
Joel.
So my closing statement on it, since we've all fully decided, I was watching a video describing like people's mindsets, like how they perceive the mindsets of like all the characters that Joel and Ellie ran into, and like how they were adapting to them and changing. And like you see early on that Joel's against it. He's closed off because his daughter died and his whole world was gone after that. So in order for him not to feel that pain anymore, he just shut off all emotions, shut off all attachment.
Mhm.
Like even with Tess, there was like something there, but there wasn't. It was all unspoken because they
Mhm.
didn't want to feel that attachment.
right.
Yeah.
And like then like they continued to explain like every character after that, including like Bill and his partner and when his partner died and all these things, and how like the world was just like how it was like psychologically broken.
I mean, I think it's in the title, The Last of Us. As, like, we are the last of us. And the ones that are left are the ones that we have.
Yep.
And I love that.
And it's not necessarily the cream of the crop anymore.
Yeah.
Man, this is a hard one coming up, guys.
Is it?
So, seed number 2, Arthur Morgan
Or
versus Tomb Raider's Lara Croft at number 7.
Uh-oh.
Another female.
Another female. I'm sorry, ladies. I'm sorry.
Not some
Also-
great showings.
Also number 7 seed.
The initial argument that just went into my head touches on character development for Arthur and not for motivation. But
Yeah.
But the initial argument is his motivation is to be, depending on the choices you make, is to be a better version of himself. So that less. I don't think he's thinking that lofty to like inspire John to be a better person, that kind of thing.
But I think he reaches a point where he's like, it's less about John and more about Jack.
Yeah.
And what's her name? I forget her name.
Abigail.
Abigail, yes. Like, I think it was more about setting up Jack to be able to have a good life. And to him, John needed to be a part of that.
I think we can sum up Arthur's motivation as it's a very static motivation, and it's there throughout the entire game, is
Provide.
He wants to do what's best for the gang.
Yeah.
His family. And his...
Even if it means breaking that family apart.
Yeah, especially because of breaking his family apart, because that's what's going to be best for them.
Yeah. God damn.
And
I love these conversations, guys.
That's why when I came up with this, I'm like, hey, this is gonna be good. I'm gonna have some fun with this.
There was everybody who's played Red Dead 2 knows the turning point. It was after the Saint Denis job.
Yep.
Where everything is just going wrong, and you're like, how? What can I do? Why is Karen drinking again, and why is everybody at each other's throats, and who are these new people, and what is Dutch doing?
And I fucking hate Micah.
And sure, that's also a constant motivation for Arthur, is to hate Micah. But you, as the player, are thinking that, and it's exactly what Arthur is thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Also, I like how he gets the TB diagnosis, and you can see in real fucking time his goalpost move.
Yeah.
He's like, I am not gonna get that sunset. I'm not gonna get that sitting on the beach with a tequila.
One of my absolute favorite things about the game, and it's so small, is after the diagnosis, like, the doctor just, when he lights up a pipe right beside him.
Yeah.
But, like, Arthur walks out, and then, like, if you look at the minimap, everything's highlighted because he doesn't know what to do now.
Yeah.
So he just kind of starts walking, and then he sees the vision of the animal. But, like you don't have a specific place to go to. And I'm like, I love that so much. The idea of that, where, like, his motivation, I wouldn't say necessarily changes, but it's so enhanced from that point on.
That is such a great, like, just development little thing.
It's rare when you can integrate game mechanics into the narrative.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Circling back a tiny bit to, you just remind me of, I think in Metal Gear Solid 4, there's a part where you have to crawl through a hallway.
Yeah.
And as silly as this and trite as this sounds, you have to mash the button for like a real life 5 minutes. And if you stop, you die.
Yep.
Speaking of mechanics going into...
There's also the boss in it that disconnects your controller.
We could
3?
1.
We could continue to talk about Arthur Morgan all day.
Lara Croft is like girl Drake.
She wants to be the
She was the
best
original Drake.
treasure hunter.
I feel like
that is her motivation.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Lara Croft made this list because she is a PlayStation icon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
just like Nathan Drake.
Back from the 90s, like back in PS1 days, like
triangle boobs.
Her triangle boobs, dude. Like she was an icon. And I think that's part of why she made those lists. I think that's also part of why Commander Shepard made the list. But also, like, the good Commander Shepard, I would say, like, is, like, part of, like, what people really loved.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Ralph.
No, I disagree completely.
But I just, like, I look at Lara Croft and I look at Nathan Drake and I feel like they're the same person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Laura.
I think Arthur Morgan is a hard one to beat.
Arthur?
And I think round 2, talking about character development,
who's it? Arthur
between
and Joel?
Arthur and Joel is about to be a fucking battle, dude.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of round 2,
big with those two.
And that's the one to end round 2.
Hour 10.
Holy fuck, man!
We can't, right?
No, I think we call this for episode 1.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I am enjoying the fucking shit out of this.
This, honestly, I love going into these character depths with everybody. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it's not just exploring them, but we're also kind of exploring what we all perceive about it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's you have swayed me on 2 different ones because of things you said.
So,
this is a good topic.
We're 1 round down on the left side.
Send us away, Chris.
Take us home.
You'll be seeing us next time when we do this again.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in on the April Badassness Tournament.
Great.
We'll see you in the next round.